So what are my theoretical backgrounds? Like I said, I have a specialization in transpersonal psychology. Transpersonal psychology prioritizes the spiritual, mystic, and transcendent aspects of the human experience. Insight and knowledge is accrued by going internal and exploring your unconscious and subconscious. And so, one of the tenets of the transpersonal approach is that healing happens through the exchange of energy between the client and the practitioner. It is the relationship that is actually the medicine. So there are other therapies where it's all the mind. It's all about controlling your thoughts. It's all about understanding what you're thinking. But I'm a trauma therapist, and you cannot think your way out of trauma. You can only feel your way out of. I mean, you can't actually get out of the trauma, or you can get out of the trauma. But to heal trauma, you have to feel it. And with transpersonal psychology, it doesn't take away the fact that the person in front of you who's sitting next to you, who's doing the healing work with you, matters as well. So I don't know if you've all ever been in front of a practitioner or a therapist who you were just like, I do not vibe with this person. I do not connect with this person. That's because that person is probably not your medicine. So if you all are looking for a therapist, it's kind of like dating. You have to find that person who connects with you in a way that you need to be connected to for whatever healing process you need. And so the word trans, or the prefix trans, a lot of people think it's about rising above, but trans actually means through. So when you think of transgender people, it's not that they can transcend gender, it's that they're able to move through the gender fluidly, right? Another theoretical background, somatic psychology. Like I said, trauma happens when you feel the feelings. A branch of psychology that prioritizes a body-centered approach for processing and understanding the effects of trauma on one's mental and emotional health. Insight and knowledge is acquired through fostering connection between emotions and the body. So when we do the journey, that's going to be your opportunity to allow yourself to feel all of the feelings as I guide you to bring up memories from your mind, right? Because it's connected. One of the tenets of somatic psychology is that healing happens through the physical and physiological release of emotional energy through the body's felt senses. One of the most common ways that people release trauma is through crying. And often we fear the crying. We fear the feeling of feeling it because we think we're going to die, but really your emotions only are felt in your body for no more than 90 seconds before they can pass. But so often we fear that 90 seconds. So in my work is I force you to sit in your feelings. I don't force you. I sit with you as you sit in your feelings. And then you feel them, right? And then you then let them go so that they don't have a hold over you. I'm also presenting this if you're looking for a therapist, you kind of know what you want to look out for, the words you want to look out for when you're looking for a therapist. But no one's like me, so. I also come from a decolonial and liberation psychology perspective, and this is a branch of psychology that prioritizes the lived experience of oppressed communities under systems of oppression, such as capitalism, colonialism, neocolonialism, patriarchy, and white supremacy. So insight and knowledge is acquired through a process of unlearning. One of the tenets of decolonial and liberation psychology is that healing happens by freeing the individual from an oppressed mindset in order to join in the collective effort for actual freedom of oppressed people. So, decolonization is a three-step process. The first step is awareness. So, becoming aware that you are being held by these systems and theologies. Two is integration. So, then bringing it into your life. And then action, where you're actually doing something about it. And most of us get stuck at integration because we get all this information, we know the stuff, we're ready to go, but then we go and repeat patterns because we might be too afraid to do it, or we just don't know the way to do it, right? So there are a lot of people right now that are in integration phase, especially with our political climate. We have already become aware that we are oppressed and that things are fucked up. We know we want to do something about it, but a lot of us don't know what that next step is, right? And so part of the Dark Femme Collective and any work that I do is helping my clients figure out what that next step is. What conversation do you need to have? What relationship do you need to end? What job do you need to go apply for or leave? Because that your action is telling the universe that you're done. You're done with the bullshit. And so when the universe hears you say that through your actions, it will start giving you your abundance back to you because now you're ready to accept it. And that abundance that I hope is freedom for everyone. Because if I can be free and you can be, well, if you can be free, then that means I'm free. And I don't feel free unless everyone else is free, right? And then the last is Indigenous psychology. Like I said earlier, I feel like all psychologies are rooted in the Indigenous culture and Indigenous philosophies. It's a branch of psychology that reiterates the need to recognize the legitimacy of all Indigenous forms of knowledge and the ultimate benefit of global sharing and collaboration, which is why we're all here today, right? We're going to share and we collaborate. Some of the tenets of Indigenous psychology include the acknowledgement of ancestral medicine and the existence of a soul that is incarnated and reincarnated on Earth to learn specific human lessons in order to develop a spiritual identity and achieve eternal liberation. So, some of you may have attended my soul contract workshop where I talked about how each person has a soul contract and how each person is born into a life that is already predetermined in some ways, where you are given a set of lessons to learn for your soul. And as you start to learn those lessons, each life that comes after gets easier and easier. Or if you don't learn the lesson, then you go into the next life repeating that. And so that's why I do past life journeys, is people come in trying to figure out what their karma is. What is the lesson that they need to learn? What is the pattern they need to break? And then when they go back into their lives, that's when they need to do the action part of it.